So it's been a while since I did an upload. Had a lot going on in my life. Not been very well. Visits to hospital, X-rays, all sorts of things going on. Now I've got a selection of videos to put together. Reference an MOT which threw up a problem with a broken shock on the rear. So I did a bit of investigation, and because I have the 2+1 Jones rear springs, obviously my van's lifted a fair bit, so basically I was not getting enough travel on the rear shocks, and that broke one. So I did a short video which I'll add after this, detailing the parts I used and why I used them. But I'm now a couple of months down the line and everything's been fine. I've had a slight squeak overhead aeroplane. This has become my new favourite park up when I'm back in the local area. But yeah, I've had a slight squeak from this side because of the movement of the axle when the shock broke. I've just got to realign the leaf springs, but there's nothing major there to do. Van needs a really good clean, but I've been really busy with work, so I haven't had a chance to do it. I haven't really done anything on the van for a while, apart from tidying up my bedroom area, making that look a little bit more presentable. The van needs a good clean, so I'll get on and do that later today. But yeah, so basically the shock went through the axle out and it damaged the rear brakes because they were obviously out of line. So I'll detail in the video the parts which I got from Mercedes. I got a local garage to do it because of the weight of the van. I didn't trust lifting up a corner, taking wheels off and sitting under there replacing brakes, so I got a garage to do it. I'm not ashamed to admit that. Brakes have been absolutely fine, all Mercedes parts. While I was there I got a quote for the fronts. Now I find Mercedes actually very reasonable for brake parts. In the past I've had other Mercedes vehicles and I've gone to motor factors and bought sort of Brembo equivalents and stuff, and to be honest the genuine Mercedes ones always work out at about the same price. So I'm going to clip a selection of videos together detailing the journey for that, the MOT, the broken shock, the brake replacement and so on. So I hope you enjoy the rest of it. So it was MOT day today and it failed on a broken shock. Now it turns out that the shock's broken because there's not enough travel. When the van's bouncing up and down, it's extending fully because of my Jones 2+1 rear springs. So after a long conversation with Mercedes, they came up with these uprated. You can see that they're quite substantially thicker and they're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer. So I've bought 2 of those. They're a simple job to replace, but because of the weather I bought it to my son-in-law who's doing it now. The other issue was the handbrake was locking up this side and it was causing an almighty squeal. So they failed it on the MOT on the handbrake, I guess, and the broken shock. But we've changed it, but what's happened is the axle is actually twisted back because it looks like the shocks actually keep the axle square, and it's shunted the axle back by about 1 inch, comparing to the other side. But once the shocks are on and the van's moved, it should square itself back up again. But what I've done is I've gone for Monroe uprated shocks, and that's the part number. I'll go and get the invoice, and that should, so here's the invoice. I've blocked my personal details, but basically, it's not very good light for this. But there's the cost of the shocks. So they gave me 20% off. So the two shocks combined were 147 plus VAT, which works out to be about £175, which I thought was pretty reasonable. I've also bought a centre roller for the sliding door because I don't know if you can see that, but it's started to score there and it's just not rolling quite well the way it used to. So I've bought that genuinely from Mercedes as well, and the cost of that, it was 66 and they gave me 10% off. So with VAT, £72. You can buy them for about half the price online, but I just want a genuine Mercedes, so I'll be fitting that in a minute. But that's an update on the springs. So nice little Sunday morning job, changing that. So there's the part number from Mercedes. So the original one, the wheel here knackered, and it started to score my track, so I bit the bullet. It's cost me about £70 for that, believe it or not, but real easy job. It's just 4 T45 bolts, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. But a word of warning, when the door's open to try and get it, normal socket sets and whatever, you're not going to get in because the gap is so tight between here and the body. Luckily I had a little tiny one, so I've been able to repair that today. So now my sliding door's back to opening nice and smoothly again. This is a lot of work, a lot of effort for a roller to give way, and apparently it's a common thing with these. And lo and behold, Mercedes say they sell loads of them. So come on Mercedes, there must be a better way of putting a roller in there, making it easy to swap that out rather than the whole thing, because there's literally nothing wrong with the rest of it. But that's done. It's another job out of the way. I've put it through the MOT, and I've had all sorts of problems because I thought it was going to fly straight through, but on this side the rear shock had gone. Can't even see it from here, it's underneath. Got my diesel heater on because I've got some towels drying. The rear shocks, can't even see from that side, it's coming from this side. So the rear shocks, basically mine is split in the middle, and I've gone for the extended ones, and it's made a hell of a difference to the ride. It's so much better. I'm struggling with a bad knee, so excuse me whinging, but yeah, it's certainly made a difference to the ride, having a nice pair of new shocks on the back. Unfortunately, when my shock had broken, apparently the axle had shifted slightly because it's the shock absorbers that keep the axle square. So apparently it's the cause of my brake issues, where the axle had moved out. So I need a new fitting kit because there's something broken inside. So another trip back to Mercedes on Monday. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm going to buy new discs, new pads, new inner shoes and a fitting kit, and then I know that rear axle has all new brakes, new shocks, new leaf springs, new wheels, new tyres, so there's literally should be nothing to surprise me in the future. And then I shall move on to the fronts, and that's had the new transverse spring, as you'd know if you follow my channel. I can see that just literally through the wheel, I can just see that I've got a slight lip on that disc, so I'll change them out when I get round to the front. But I'm going to go for Bilstein shocks there. Because of my problems with the rear, I wanted to go Bilstein all round, but I was of the position where I'd had a problem with the original shocks. I've managed to get some uprated, slightly longer ones from Mercedes, which I believe are for the 5-ton van. Now if they prove to be a problem, I've already found out that you can go for the 4x4 shocks. It might mean just changing the bolts out, changing the bush out or something, but for now I went for the Mercedes original, which is Monroe's. Nothing special, but it's all back together and I'm mobile again, so that was the important thing. But that's a Sunday out of the way. Now I've got the rest of the day to myself, so I'm going to take the dogs out to the New Forest for a good run. But yeah, that's where I am for today. But all these little things are sent to test us, so they say, but I'm on top of it now, so as soon as I can get the brakes done, either tomorrow or Tuesday, it's going to be back in for its retest and get my MOT. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. So I'm here at Mercedes. Just bought all the new rear brakes, including the fitting kit and the fronts, which, to be fair, front's all in. Sorry about this. Zoom out. There we go. I think that's a pretty good price from Mercedes. But give them a shout out, Marshall Truck and Van at Nursel in Southampton. They've been really good, giving me some discount. This is all to do with my rear axle problem. When the shock broke, it's kicked out the fitting kit, so I've just literally gone and bought everything new. So get that done the next day or so, and then she can go in for her MOT. But that's a little update. I'll insert this somewhere into a video so I can catch you up, or help you catch up with everything.